Okay, gentlemen, for today, our topic is going to be reshaping the future workforce to support smart manufacturing. So would like to talk about some of the common challenges first, and I would like to go to you, Jake, first. Let's talk about some of the common challenges you hear regarding moving the workforce to smart manufacturing.
Well, let's start by calling it what it is today. Our manufacturing processes across virtually every industry are not intelligent. They just simply aren't. There are a series of one-off choices that have been made over the last few decades to try and run independent operating units. There have been some attempts to try and bring information off of those things, but it tends to be in smaller buckets. Think of it as I need to understand the conditions on line one, or I need to look at my quality release process. And so they are information silos, if you want to refer to them. It's that way. I spent a great deal of time working with companies on their manufacturing 4.0 journey, right? Trying to step back and say, hey, what is the breakthrough that's really required? And there are a couple of drivers, honestly, Greg, that are driving the need to reshape this thing. I hate to say it, but look, we've got manufacturing plants are by their very nature heavy capital investment locations, right? So because of the huge amount of demand volatility that's been going on across almost all the verticals, right? And that includes, by the way, pharma and life sciences as well. What we're seeing is two things. First, a move by many companies to actually say, you know what, I need to buffer for the level of uncertainty by fractionalizing my manufacturing base. Now, we'll toss it to Doug in a minute, but unfortunately, what that means is, you know what, I'm not going to own all the capacity. I'm going to contract for a part of the capacity that can help me with how high is high when it blows out the top end, and also discreetly things that I can side shuffle off and give to a smaller player that can run more efficiently. Now, that fractionalizes our manufacturing base, right? It also assumes, unfortunately, that we had an ecosystem that could actually pull information together around those individual operating units in a coherent and quick way, right? So job one that we're seeing around smart manufacturing is folks making, I'll call it, poor choices on the physical side without understanding the correlating needs that they have on the information side, right? To pull things together. They're saying, well, I can add more dominoes to the table, but there's no impact. Bullshit. There's a huge impact. There's a greater flow of info that's now disconnected that has to be somehow wired back together to give you even the equivalent view of what you thought you may have had before, which, by the way, was deficient. So that's first. Second, there's a huge shift in the workforce. So think about that as we have moved to try and make machines faster and more automated for less touch points, it has required the level of competency of those that work on and with the machines to have higher level of intellect around problem solving and issue identification so that they can preemptively deal with a issue around a process that's starting to drift. Well, if you don't have the right intelligent architecture, the user, the line operator, doesn't know that they've had a 5% drift over the last 2-3 hours in either the quality of the material that's ingesting in the machine, the yield output, and they're not seeing that fast enough to be able to take corrective action before I end up losing 1,000 cases or 500,000 units that I need for fulfilling demand. So those are the two primary things